A mile from rim to rim, the Ring of Isengard was a massive, circular stone wall carved directly out of the misty mountains, sheltering a vast, sunken valley. Saruman the White relied heavily on the valley's distinct bowl shape. With a single, tightly controlled gate facing south, any invading army was forced into a massive, heavily fortified choke point. This topographical map shows the River Isen flowing hundreds of feet higher than the sunken basin. When the Ents tore down Saruman's stone dam at midnight, they simply released the river. Gravity did the rest, sending water rushing straight down into the bowl. By sealing off every exit to keep his enemies out, Saruman inadvertently built a watertight basin, trapping himself inside. The diverted river slammed into the southern wall with enough kinetic force to reduce it to rubble in minutes, scouring the landscape of artificial defenses. The remaining orc garrison attempted to fire arrows into the dark. But steel and wood offer zero resistance against a sudden, massive shift in local geography. Within minutes, the rushing water leveled the engineered plains of the valley, filling every trench and crater until the entire compound became a violently churning, muddy lake. The Ents never actually engaged Saruman's defenders in hand-to-hand combat. They simply erased the physical environment that allowed his army to exist. The industrial capacity of Númenórean relied on an immense subterranean network of tunnels, forges, and breeding pits excavated deep into the valley floor. These pits produced the Uruk-hai, a heavily armored, sunlight-resistant breed of orc engineered specifically for continuous warfare. This cross-section illustrates the underground layout. The lowest chambers housed massive, superheated iron furnaces, requiring constant surface ventilation. Freezing floodwaters cascaded down the shafts, colliding directly with the roaring fires. The sudden, violent thermal shock cracked the furnaces instantly, filling the spaces with blinding steam. Every gear, forge, and weapon rack was permanently anchored into the bedrock. There was no way to salvage or move any of the heavy machinery before the rapidly rising water level completely swallowed it. A subterranean war machine requires a precise, constant supply of fire and oxygen. By flooding the vents, raw nature suffocated the entire industrial complex in a matter of hours. By morning, the murky surface of the new lake was choked with floating debris. Splintered wooden timber, crushed supply wagons, and thick layers of gray ash drifted aimlessly across the water. Beneath the surface, the heavily oxygenated river water immediately attacked the submerged iron grates and gears, triggering rapid, crippling rust across the flooded armory. Saruman spent years systematically deforesting the surrounding woodlands and burning countless tons of fuel to construct his war engines. It took exactly one night to reduce all that effort to bobbing, useless garbage. His mass-produced industrial expansion was an artificial strain on the local ecosystem. Once the natural equilibrium of the river was restored, the empire dissolved immediately. Yet perfectly intact at the dead center of the flooded valley was the Tower of Orthanc. The water lapped against its base, but the structure itself remained entirely untouched. Saruman didn't build this monolithic spire. It was forged thousands of years earlier during the Second Age by the Númenórean, an ancient civilization of men with advanced architectural knowledge. This architectural diagram breaks down Orthanc's unique construction. 4 mighty, many-sided piers of black stone are seamlessly welded into a single hardened peak, making it completely impervious to the Ents, creatures capable of tearing solid rock like a bread crust. Enduring architecture relies on a mastery of material science and ancient craft. Saruman's hasty, mass-produced walls crumbled, while the Númenórean monolith endured without a single scratch. At the base of the tower, a narrow staircase of 27 steps now descends directly into the dark, lapping water. While those impenetrable walls protected the wizard from the physical wrath of the Ents, they also trapped him, severing his connection to his army, his resources, and the outside world. The indestructible nature of Orthanc offered no salvation for the war machine built around it. The Black Tower simply outlived the Empire. Stripped of his industrial might and confined to his chambers, Saruman became a hostage to his own arrogance, permanently entombed within a relic he occupied but never truly understood.